If the government shuts down at midnight, the impact would be felt across many sectors, of course, including the economy.
And to talk more about how this could be felt here in New York, we want to bring in CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, good to see you once again. Tell us how a possible government shutdown would affect us here in New York.
So I want to think about this three ways: the consumer, the federal worker, and the economy. So if you're at home, I want you to take a breath, because as a consumer, if you're worried you're going to not get your Social Security check, your Medicare check, those things have separate funding. So that is not going to stop. If maybe you're visiting a national park, you've got that planned, your plans may be impacted. But really, as a consumer, life is going to go on. If you're a federal worker, you're going to get back pay once this comes, to a close, if it does shut down. But understandably, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, the government is not going to pay you back if you miss an interest payment or something like that on your credit card. Broadly, though, the economy, it's about $7 billion a week we estimate that the economy would lose in a government shutdown. It's not that big in the grand scheme of things, and it normally bounces back.
You mentioned interest rates, which brings me to my next point. What about the not so obvious sort of indirect impacts of this? So
one's the stock market. We always like to look at our 401ks. Normally, investors look at this. They don't have a ton of confidence, but that really works itself out quite quickly. So don't freak out if you see the stock market move. The other thing, though, is economic data. The government releases a lot of things like inflation data, jobs data. We're looking at something this Friday. We're going to get a big labor market report. The Federal Reserve uses that data to determine interest rates. If they don't have that data, which they wouldn't in a shutdown, that would be delayed, it might make them more cautious to cut interest rates.
It's like a domino effect, isn't it? It really is. It's how to look at it.
And if you're waiting for a lower interest rate, this is sort of going to impact you.
It could. Yeah. The Federal Reserve could still decide to go ahead without that data, but it's just something to keep in mind and keep a watch on.
Got it. Kelly, thank you so much for the insight.
Let's hope for the best.
Yes.